Okay, so in today's Scrappy video challenge, oh God, I've started in a scrappy way again. I'm going to talk about masking today. So this is, are you showing up in a way that is like not authentic to who you are? And then we're going to have to deal with the word authentic because so many people use it and so many people use it in a way that's not real or not very helpful. So we're going to start off just talking about masking. It comes up in neurodivergent research. You might have heard it before, and it is this idea of showing up as a version of you that is not you. So I mean, everyone does things in the world. We go into different spaces and we change how we are. You are different with your parents or with your partner or with the people at work. Like you'll change the way that you show up. But masking is when it is done to such a degree. You're like hiding aspects of your personality and yourself for safety reasons. You have to hide them, otherwise you'll be stigmatized, or that you'll go out and people will hate you, basically, or they might actively eject you from the society, or in extreme cases, they might kill you. That's what our body and our fear and our anxiety and things tends to believe, that okay, if I show this part of myself, I'm going to go into this environment and then people are going to basically kill me because we are social animals. So masking comes up as a lot in neurodivergent research. So I'm ADHD with autistic traits, and I have spent all of my life basically learning how to mask, which is like I didn't know I was doing this. I grew up around actors. I grew up with a voice coach as a mum, and over the years, every time I go into a new environment and a new community of people, my brain is immediately going, okay, what are the rules here? How am I supposed to interact? How do I how do I stand? How do I talk? What am I allowed to talk about and what am I not allowed to talk about? How messy can I be? How much of my opinions can I give across, or do people not like that? So this is the kind of thing about masking. What does masking mean for the voice is my question today. And like, as a voice coach, what I like to work with is letting people to find the most true, real, genuine version of themselves, often when they're standing on stage, if they're an actor or if they're giving presentations or whatever. What my hand's doing today. Look, I just saw myself in the video and I'm like, oh look, my hands are doing this weird, I am talking on the video thing. That is an example of my brain going into masking mode. Basically, it's kind of monitoring my motions of my body and going, oh, I'm doing something strange there. Am I supposed to stop? I don't know. Now I don't know what to do with my hands. To put them down the side. And with the voice, the more you know about your voice, the more you can recognize how many of these just habits. Basically, we've picked up habits, but they're not just habits like bad habits. They're habits that are there to save us from being rejected. So with voice work, I like to work with people to let them have the tools to be able to release some of those habits that aren't serving them. And underneath that, we tend to find a version of their voice that is just like fascinating to watch. And you could listen to it for ages, and they're beautiful on stage. People are lovely. Like they just suddenly come alive, and you're like, yes, okay, that is it. That is the version of you that we're going to kind of use the voice work to move towards. And often it's just this tiny moment that you see it with a person when we're doing an exercise, and then you know what's possible with that person. So that's what I like to do with voice, and that's why voice and masking kind of interact, because I do believe that voice work can be a kind of tool, or a set of different tools to help people to explore their masks and how they show up. I do want to talk a little bit, because I'm a researcher. I don't know why I'm showing you this. It's to show you that I have a plan. The difference between different terms, because like there are, within the research, I'm doing some voice research, and there are different terms in the research for what is similar to masking. So there are things like code switching. Code switching is quite common in languages. So you might get someone, and it's when you switch between different languages, not necessarily quickly. Maybe you speak Spanish at work and you speak English at home, or vice versa. But you can see it if you're an international person. You often see it around people who speak multiple languages, and maybe they'll be sitting in a cafe and they've got their kids there, and then they're like talking to someone. So we were doing this yesterday. We went to the supermarket yesterday, and I found this thing. Tú, no haces eso. Que vienes aquí jugar aquí. Venga. and then we were looking for coconut milk in the supermarket, and we went merci, oui bébé, je voudrais un café au lait et un croissant, merci. And then we were in the aisle where you'd find the coconut milk, and you've got someone who like very very seamlessly is switching. I don't know how seamless that was for me, but like the Spanish, French, and English, and like switching between those things, and you watch those in international communities a lot, and that is code switching. You're immediately just changing who you are, basically, depending on who you're talking to. You speak Spanish to your children, speak English to your friend, or French to the server, and that's like, there's a positive thing, is to be kind of, there are different aspects of yourself, and you're able to kind of show them publicly, and it's so that whoever you're talking to understands you like the best, which is often what code switching is. It's to help people to understand you. But with masking, and there's another term that's called identity suppression, or identity management, which is really like recognizing that's part of you. Say you were in it. Say you had that person, this that I've just set up there that speaks Spanish. Say they were in an environment where people were very racist against Spanish people. At work, for example, they might only speak French, and there's like if they were to ever say anything in Spanish, they would be immediately, their system would go, oh my god, I'm in danger, because they're in a workplace where showing that Spanish identity was like dangerous because of it being very racist. And like we can understand that within the world of like languages and things, because we've got touchstones. There are things that there are stereotypes, but we've also seen a lot of that in media and films and stuff. You've seen the stories that play out in the place of racism, for example. Within the world of neurodivergence, the differences between an autistic brain and a neurotypical brain, which is someone whose neurology aligns with the culture that we're in. Like the dominant culture, I should say. It's different because you can't see it so easily. And autistic brains, like people who are autistic, like often it's not that you tend to start off in an environment where you're just surrounded by the autistic people. You might over time like find yourself in friend groups where you've got like loads of ADHD and autistic people if you're neurodivergent, as I am. And I go, oh look, that person I was drawn to, that person's also neurodivergent. But we don't tend to have sort of started off in a place where everyone has the same neurotype as us. So masking and changing how we present is sort of normal from the beginning. And I mean, this shows up in loads of different ways for different marginalized people, different like genders, sexualities, beliefs within the areas that they grow up. But yes, so there are various terms for it in the research. This is quite a research-heavy video, don't you think? It's quite a research-heavy because this is my area. But I think masking is something that we talk about, but we don't necessarily know the balance, like what it means, or sometimes we just talk about it like, oh, they're doing a lot of masking there. And often as a neurodivergent person, it's also neurodivergence heavy, this particular video. Less about voice, more about that, but that's all right. And it shows up because we get exhausted. So you go into an environment, maybe you show up at work, and you have to present yourself. You're like, oh, I'm so tired today. I can't interact with people. I'm so not. And then you get into your work and you're like, hi, how's it going? Everything? Yeah, you okay? Did you have a nice time? And like, that's not how you feel. And you have to invest what in the research is called emotional labor, which is about using, let's get that, emotional labor is managing your emotions and expressions of those emotions in order to be acceptable within an environment. And it's fine to do that, but the more you have to do that, if you have to do that for survival and you have to do it all day, it's extremely detrimental to people's health. And that's why I think sort of providing places where you can play with your voice, like in voice work and voice workshops, and in kind of acting related workshops, why that can be so relieving for people is that suddenly you're in this space where you're like, I can like play with these things, but I'm also accepted for who I am and like celebrated for who I actually am. Yes. So anyway, that was today's video. It was about masking. It was pretty rambly and scrappy, as I think all of these videos will be. If you are interested in my rambles and scrappiness, please, I don't know, follow this series. I don't know, sign up to my YouTube channel, whatever the hell. Do whatever the hell you want. It's not I don't care. If you're interested, follow. I mean, I'd love to connect with you, but I also, like, do what you want, or just come back, check out videos later on. I have no idea what tomorrow's will be about. It'll be something related to voice, I guess.